What is this unusual building? It's under construction in Texas by followers of imprisoned polygamist Warren Jeffs. We were so intrigued by these pictures and by rumors that it may ultimately house a 3-story statue of Jeffs that we just had to find out more. So John Hollenhorst went to Texas. He joins us to tell what he discovered there.
Well, Bruce, as you know, Jeffs is serving a life sentence for raping 2 underage girls. We can't say for sure if his followers have made a statue or if it's an elaborate hoax, but we found tantalizing evidence in Texas and a new building that's startling and very, very large. Judge Jimmy Doyle has used his aircraft for years to keep an eye on the YFZ ranch. He goes airborne every few weeks on a photo mission. We went along for the ride. Over the years, Judge Doyle and his son have seen many building projects, but nothing like this new one.
Very unusual and very expensive. They've spent a lot of money.
It's a semicircle of poured concrete with walls 30 feet high.
We don't know what that is, and as everyone else, we cannot explain what that is.
The terraced floor suggests an auditorium or conference center. The scale might trick your eye. The building is enormous. The Eldorado Success newspaper measured it with Google Earth. On one side, it's 289 feet, almost as long as a football field, presumably because Warren Jeffs wanted it stadium-sized.
I think he called shots on everything. Even though he's locked up.
Some outsiders suspect the building is a new FLDS temple to replace the one less than a mile away, which was supposedly desecrated when Texas Rangers seized evidence against Jeffs in 2008. The construction work has mysterious elements, thousands of tubes curling from the top, maybe a cooling system, but experts we consulted have never seen one like it. A bigger mystery is an apparent drainage system. Before they put up the building, FLDS workers excavated a trench in solid rock and buried 2 pipes, roughly 48 inches in diameter. They encircle the building and run side by side hundreds of yards to the west. Experts are puzzled. In such a dry climate, it seems inconceivable such a huge volume of drainage would ever be needed. It's presumed the building will eventually have a roof and terraced seating. This anti-polygamy activist who asked for anonymity believes the focal point of the building is where the long-rumored 30-foot statue of Warren Jeffs will go.
Yes, I think it's been delivered and it's being stored in their temple that they say is desecrated and they no longer use.
Escape route.
We traced the rumors to their origin. Texas businessman Michael Biggerstaff is one of the most prominent home builders in the region. For years, he hired hundreds of FLDS workers. He stopped hiring them last summer because he was shocked by the evidence against Warren Jeffs. Last year, Biggerstaff claims one of the FLDS teenagers, who calls him Uncle, an FLDS term of respect, revealed a secret.
He just made a comment to me one day. He said, "Uncle Mike, they're building a statue of Uncle Warren."
Later, he said, the FLDS youth sent him this image of a 30-foot statue, a tall man and a child, evidently wearing a prairie dress, drawn on the back of a religious text. A mirror image reveals the text is about Cyrus of Persia. Biggerstaff says the teen kept him informed about the statue.
The frame was built in San Angelo. The frame was then transported to Utah. The skin, if you will, was to be applied there, and then later was to be returned back to Texas.
If the story is true, the statue arrived back at the YFZ ranch the night of November 29th. Biggerstaff says the youth informed him it was en route from Utah on a truck in 3 wooden shipping crates.
The truck was seen. The truck was seen by a gentleman in Eldorado, Texas, I have been told.
The next morning, a photographer for the Eldorado Success flew over the FLDS temple. Photos show a heavy-duty forklift with unpacked wooden crates at the top of the temple stairs. Had the statue been sneaked in during the night?
I was informed by this young man that it did come in the middle of the night.
Presumably, a prominent businessman wouldn't make up such a story. But what about the FLDS teenager?
This young man would not lie to me. This young man would not lie to me.
I think that it's just totally repulsive that Warren Jeffs would be standing there with a small child who from what I could see on the statue, resembles the child, the 12-year-old that he raped in the temple.
It's stupid for them to spend that kind of money for a pedophile, but I guess to each his own.
There's no doubt in my mind if this young man tells me it exists, it exists.
Well, again, we don't really know. Biggerstaff first told that story to a freelance reporter, Carol McKinley of Colorado. And Bruce, he tells me that he has refused interviews with a couple of networks, including Oprah's. So we're left a little bit up in the air.
Well, it's a fascinating yarn. Thank you for the investigation. Do you believe the tale of the statue of Warren Jeffs?
Well, I have to waffle continually on this because I tend to believe it, but I'm not 100% sure. It's quite possible from what we learned that this is a hoax that was perpetrated either by this businessman or by some of the people he talks to. Well,
he lays everything he knows in the lap of this teenage boy who calls him uncle. I mean, is there any other source to this?
Well, he did say that he heard discussions that weren't detailed from other people, but he basically attributes the story.
And then you talked to a woman, you said an anti-polygamy activist. Is that independent, or is she hearing it from the boy?
She heard it from him, from Biggerstaff.
From Biggerstaff.
So Biggerstaff is the single source of this rumor. But we found him to be credible. And one of the things that made him seem a little more credible than he otherwise might have seemed, you know the story about the truck being seen in Eldorado? He tells me he went out and stood in front of his own property along the highway from 9 o'clock at night, I think it was, until 1:30 in the morning, expecting to see the truck. And he said he didn't see it. He missed it. Well, if he was making it up, I kind of had the feeling he would have said he saw it. So that kind of added to his credibility, but I don't think it tells us much about that 17-year-old FLDS boy that he says told him about.
Okay, that's an interesting sketch that you sent on the back of a page about Cyrus, King of Persia, or whatever it was. Let's put up a picture. When I saw that in your report last week, it dawned on me that in terms of iconography, the picture in the middle, you know, it could be seen as Warren Jeffs with an underage bride, which is pretty creepy, or it could be very, you know, mainstream. You see lots of pictures of Jesus in a robe with a belt around himself with a child in hand. I mean, that's...
Yeah, well, that critic that we interviewed in Texas would have said the picture on the left is the one that she had in her mind's eye when she saw it. And, of course, a FLDS follower, a Jeffs follower, would look at the one on the right for inspiration. So.
Are there no building inspections in Texas? Nobody goes in and sees what this is and has an understanding of the plans?
No, we were told that in rural Schleicher County, in rural counties, in rural areas, there's essentially no building regulation. That we even called the State Commission on Environmental Quality, and they don't know what it is.
Tell me about the rumblings of something up in the FLDS community in April.
Yeah, there's sort of a history with this group of building events around April 6th, which is, some people believe that's the birthday of Jesus Christ. And so there's some belief that this building might be finished and dedicated on April 6th. There are some
that would be fast-tracking it, wouldn't it?
This is their history, is building things in a hurry. The temple was built in an amazingly short period of time. And so some people wonder if all of this process going on in Colorado City and Hilldale right now on the Utah-Arizona border, this process of sorting out the less loyal from the loyal and getting it down to the core of most loyal believers, perhaps they're all going to Texas for this event on April 6th.
And the puppet master still is Warren Jeffs from prison.
Facing life in prison. Doesn't seem to be much prospect of him ever getting out.
You've been following this story for decades, and you've got a heck of a story on your hands. Thank you, John Hollenhorst. Up next, one entrant in the crowded field of Republicans who want to represent Utah's 2nd District in Congress. This is Sunday Edition.